December 26th, 2014. We're reviewing a painter's contract, a tech contract, and administrative contract. Andre's going to explain how the contracts work, starting at Paint Masters, and also at the end reviewing level 1, 2, 3 activity.
Yes. All right, so let's start with the painter's contract, right? You can, Jason, you can read it, and then I'll stop, and then I'll explain to you when I've asked you to stop and stuff.
All right. The paint tech must 1. Perform professionally and act responsibly.
Okay.
2. Arrive 10 to 15 minutes.
Just stop at 1 right there. All right, so must perform professionally and act responsibly, right?
Yeah.
I have over here with me a sheet that's called the 5 fundamentals, right? Which is the 5 fundamentals that this company hinges on, kind of thing. And that includes professionalism and accountability and responsibility, kind of thing. I'm gonna get into more detail in this with this sheet with you later on, because I did explain that thoroughly with Jeff on the way to Jersey. I explained to him how each one of the steps work, and the ones that are immediately required for you as you get hired. You're not required to do all of it as you get hired, but some of it, yes.
Do you have another copy of that?
No, I gotta make copies later.
Okay.
So,
Because this whole package that we're putting together,
yeah.
I want to put in one package.
Yes, I think this is very important. But I only have one copy because the day that I was looking for it to give the class to Jeff, I only found one, so yeah, I do need to make copies of it. Because remember my phone got erased and stuff? It's no longer existent in my phone. So I'm gonna talk with you more in detail later. But so perform professionally, act responsibly. Let me just read the definition of responsibility that we got here. Responsibility is something that you should do because it's morally right or legally required. What's the difference between both? Morally right or legally required? If it's something that comes natural to you, right? If it's something that's right and comes natural to you, that means it's morally right. If it's something that's legally required, it's like if something doesn't come natural to you, but you know it's the right thing to do, so you do it anyways because. So that's what responsibility is.
Legally obligated maybe to tie off the top of a bad fire escape, but we're morally obligated to make sure it's marked and safe.
Kind of thing, yeah. You know what I mean? So it also talks. There's the other side that talks about that it's the responsibility is evident with or without your partiality towards your job or co-workers. So for example, if you're angry at you happen to be angry at your co-worker. I explained that with Jeff before. There was a guy that left me hanging in New Jersey once, but I'll explain to you later on, more in detail later on, right, about that. If you're angry at your employee, right, that doesn't mean you should just kick the bucket and go home and leave his people hanging. And that that's part of being responsible.
Right,
that's the other, that's the other
finish
side.
the job,
Right? Because you're responsible. You're not gonna freaking make sure something bad happens.
To sum it up,
you're angry.
because you're mad at your teammate,
Yeah.
you still want to score the touchdown. You do what's
That's
morally right.
So it's evident with or without your partiality. You're liking the job, the particular job you're doing right now, or you like the person you work with. Sometimes you can stand the person, but just stay there and we'll try to make it work because I'm a responsible person. All right, so yeah, read the next line then.
To arrive 10 to 15 minutes prior to the appointed starting time or call 30 to 60 minutes before that time to explain tardiness and hear further instructions if plans should change due to his or her tardiness. Being late for work over 3 to 5 times in the same month will result in immediate suspension or worse if the problem does continue.
Alright, so this is pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
This is only what they want to add is that
Again, that's base responsibility for any employer,
And communication.
that's some of the things we expect, basically, right? Over here it says if plans should change due to his or her tardiness, right? So, for example, you're gonna be late. Today I was late. Today I was a little late because the other guy called me and held me hostage in my house there for a while. If you're gonna be late, and then you call ahead, right? Say, for example, people are waiting for you in Somerville at 7 o'clock to pick you up and take you to Boston, for example. So you call in and say, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be there 7:30. So this is what this means. We can maybe reroute you and say, hey, go straight to Boston.
All too many times you have a team of 5 people waiting to go. You're holding up 5 people for a half an hour. Do the arithmetic. It's not fair to the employer.
Yeah. So
Common decency.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have the whole ABC plans, kind of thing. So that's what it means. Like the plans will change. You know what I mean? So you're gonna be here at 7:30. We can't wait with 5 guys. So it's 2 hours wait, right? We can't wait till 7:30 to pick you up. But you can go straight to the job site, more or less where the job site is, and meet us there 8 o'clock, whatever time you get there. So that's how the plans change. It's contingency plans. Read the third one.
Call his supervisors over the weekend to find out his work schedule for the following Monday, or call in no later than 7 a.m. Monday morning.
Okay, yep. We've had trouble with that in the past sometimes. Some other people think that. I think it's a two-way street. The supervisor has to call, and the people have to call as well. Some of the workers actually thought that only we were supposed to call. Like the other guy Jeff. He never. I was surprised he never even called looking for work. For the past week. Never called because he's supposed to work 3 days a week, right? Like you and everybody else.
Well, the perfect example is Peter.
Call looking for work. Yeah, he didn't even call looking for work. It's
It's because he doesn't want to work.
Yeah, I guess he's got other options. Whenever you get options, you don't get out of bed or something.
Again, I just want to interject here, and everybody starting in the company, like any normal company, it's a 90-day trial period. Okay, everybody's per diem. Our work week is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, you can get the majority of your hours in those days. However,
in a perfect world scenario.
In a perfect world scenario, because we do, weather does play a factor with us, so those days may change a little bit. It's not like
Set in stone.
the office, because it's pretty easy to have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They don't have to worry about weather conditions and so forth. Which we'll get into Mondays and Fridays, which special projects, and again, for people that are showing promise, there's always special projects. Leaders, there's always special projects.
Support projects.
Anything to better the business, whether
Fabbing for that week, or
and it's not so much fabbing. A lot of that will fall in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. But we'll touch base on that later in the conversation.
And that next line
we got
is
number 4. Be compliant to existing norms and systems. Must be trainable. Wear proper fire emergency service issued uniform, including black jeans, FES shirt and hoodie, steel-toe boots, follow code of conduct, etc.
Yes. FES means Fire Escape Services, by the way.
I know.
Okay. So be compliant with existing systems. We, as a group, read a book before. Actually, lost the notes on that too. It sucks. My head is. We read a book as a group. It's called E-Myth. It's about the whole myth of people think it's easy to go into businesses thing. I do all the work and my boss makes all the money. I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna open a business on that, right? But they don't know the whole the whole thing that goes in. They only see the what the book calls working in it thing. They only see the hard work part of it. They don't see the smart work part. By smart work part, I mean the working on it. The whole
Linguistics.
the whole paperwork, the whole marketing. You know what I mean? The budgeting, all the thing that goes afterward. After they punch out. You know what I mean? So as soon as they opened the company, they found out the hard way that when they opened the company, they got the old job, right, which pays them a little more money, right? But now they got like 12 other jobs and new jobs that they didn't. Sometimes they don't like doing it. So
Time out, train. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Find out
You
the
know,
hard part.
you better make sure you know what the pasture looks like.
Yeah,
in the other field.
Because they don't see the boss working, with the hands and shit. But they think
Or on the phone all night.
Yeah, that's what they do. But that's what the boss is doing. The whole logistics on the phone to make sure you get the work. Make sure everything works steady, right? So be compliant with existing norms and systems, right? This book talks about a lot of systems and. One of the things that the book advises on is to grab people that really new, they really don't have. The whole point was to grab people with not a lot of bad habits. For example, you have a company, you have your own systems and stuff, right? But if you get an experienced guy, an experienced 5K fabricator from another company that has his own different habits and stuff, is going to be hard to break, kind of thing. So the book is very insists a lot upon hire people that they're very inexperienced, because that way you can teach them your way from the ground up. There's not going to
Doesn't mean you can't bring somebody in with the experience and rewire them.
It's just harder, if you bring somebody with.
And at all levels, whether it's 1, 2, 3, out of the book, it's an eagerness to want to, willingness to learn, to move on, to be able to rewire.
To listen, you know what I mean, to
Learn the way.
that's what the boss asks for, you got to at least give him the benefit, you know what I mean? Try my way first, and then, okay, I tried. Now, I do have some experience on this from another company. I think it's worked better, kind of thing. Respectfully, I did butt a lot of heads with him, because I used to work with his father before, and I learned a lot of things. Sometimes the wrong way, and sometimes it's just different. It's different kind of right way, but it's not the way he wants in his company. That's why this is a very important line. Is you got to be compliant to existing norms and systems. You come here now. Don't try to the way he puts it. Don't try to one-train us. You know what I mean? Like a child tries to one-train the parent. They always try to push it, see if they can get away with shit. You know what I mean?
Perfect example is the guy Louis that was here for 2 years. He would love to try to untrain me. I'm still training.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel Andre likes to untrain me.
Me?
But
I'm not.
again, he's got all the knowledge. He's done everything here once, twice, 3 times. So we'll get back to that. But
Just as it gets changing too, it kind of sucks. Sometimes keep up with it. But I always say that McDonald's, they're always evolving, right? They don't make people update the restaurants only every 5 years or every 10 years, right? It's not every month or every.
at any time, a memo can go around and a system gets updated. That's the norm in any
Yeah.
corporation.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, this is all work in progress too, and stuff that's been scattered.
Yeah.
But anyways, moving along to number 6, Jason.
Yes, sir. Number 6, must notify need for absence from work at least 2 weeks in advance.
Number 5. Actually,
I'm sorry. Check in with superiors periodically. Upon arrival at 11 a.m. Start and end of lunch break at 3 p.m. at the end of the day and while traveling.
Alright, so communication is a big part of the 5 fundamentals as well, as you can see. There's more lines here about communication because the boss is very big into that, If you're not doing that, he's,
Well, you should rephrase that. Managements and leaders are into that. You say the boss, but management and leaders are into the communication and coordination.
You can't have that without that. You can't have that without that.
this is my definition. The best definition I could come up with for communication is the act of gathering and sharing intelligence. Okay, so it's intelligent. It's two types of intelligence, right? It says right here, right? Three types, right? Technical, which is duplication, is what I'm doing right now, teaching you something that I know. Logistical, which is preparation. So I'm preparing for a job, right? And I'm preparing for a job, and I make sure everybody knows. You know, that's why they do it on the Facebook all day long. The office people say, "Oh, I spoke with this guy," so nobody else needs to speak with him. I spoke with this guy, and the first check is in, or this or that, all the information. That's sharing or gathering intelligence. You know, so this person shared with you, and you automatically gather it, right? And the third type of right, and the analytical one, which is the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. You know, like every time a job ends, we talk about it. You know, like how can we make it better? Improving system kind of information, communication. You know what I mean? Okay,
Learning
so
from
what
our
happened?
experiences.
So what happened? We got stopped at the cop in the parkway. So we can never take a chance with any more. So by doing the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right, the analytical communication, we learned that we should not take a chance, even though there's a lot of big trucks that go in parkways, but also we have to really push on, you know, the checking the license thing, you know, for real, you know what I mean? Not just, you know what I mean? Not just rely on word of mouth kind of thing, you know what I mean? Just, you know, really check, you know. And I think Anna, she checked your license and stuff, so that's what happens, you know, when you analyze it, you know, analyze so you can grow, you know what I mean? What did we do wrong? Is this good? Yes, but can we do better kind of thing? That's,
You know, even if we're on a fire escape, there's 3 to 5 ways to crack a bolt or to paint something. A little bit of communication. You know, how did I do today? What could have we done to improve?
yes, the analytical communication.
Again, sharing knowledge with one another.
Yeah, we always do that on the way back from any job or throughout the jobs, right? So so the check-in, you know, this only talks about the check-in, the logistical, right? The logistical communication, which is the check-in. You know, I'm starting a job. You know, 11 o'clock. Okay, this is how much I've done and stuff like that. But it really communication really covers all these bases. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about it more later. So number 6.
Number 6. Must notify need for absence from work at least 2 weeks in advance, unless it's an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
A doctor's appointment is not usually considered an emergency due to the fact that the patient more often than not knows of his or her appointment weeks in advance.
Okay, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that's how it goes.
Obviously, if you're sick, you're sick.
You feel sick.
And if, you know, it's a thing where it's either a doctor's visit or an emergency room visit, you know, that's, again, goes back to morally and.
He's talking about an appointment, and an appointment usually gives you some, you know what I mean, some flexibility. But otherwise, if you suddenly fall ill, it's different. Right?
That's right. So I mean, it's common in any company, the decency to give a heads up. You know, to come in and or if we're traveling. Oh, gee, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday, oh, I forgot I had an appointment. I got to go back. It's unacceptable.
I already take it, like, I've been already moving my appointments to Monday night and stuff like that to a day that's not in the middle of the week.
And a good example, because you actually moved your appointment to go on that trip to Philly with us. You postponed it because we stayed till Friday to go do emergency repairs in Jersey. You postponed it. And I mean, fair is fair. Monday you had to go to that appointment. It would have been a 3-strike thing, basically. So of course that was responsible and definitely understandable.
But from now on, now that I know that, I will put everything on a Monday night or something where it's not in the middle of the week.
Don't need to explain yourself, but you know, you did the right thing, and I think there's an understanding. So, moving on to 7.
Have the complete tool bucket with skirt with emergency items plus the black box. To put the bucket, the work clothes, and the mobile office in it.
Okay, so the paint tech, right? This is a paint tech contract. The paint tech has to have an emergency bucket that only gets used. The two main purposes of an emergency bucket is to fix some tool, broken tool or whatnot, um, or, um, or you can use it to fix the truck too. It's got some mirrors, little tools that you can use for the truck. Even though you have a truck box as well. Also, it's got some perishables, which means it's got like one brush, it's got 1 3/8 drill bit, 1/4 inch drill bit for emergency. That's why it's an emergency bucket. One roller, you know what I mean?
Remember when you went into the trailer, you were going to grab something right out of my emergency bucket, and that's where you would grab it from? Again, I stopped you because you don't know. You haven't even really been through the trailer. We've never even done a reset.
Right.
So again.
But that doesn't get used unless you really need it. You know what I mean? But you have to carry one. Everybody has to have one, but you have to carry. I mean, if you're going to work on a trip or anywhere else, only one emergency bucket is needed. You know what I mean? For the whole crew.
For the whole crew.
You know what I mean? But everybody has to have theirs. And that usually goes in one of those big black boxes. That for the paint tech, you already have some paperwork. Your mobile office. That's what it says there. So some paperwork or like a winter clothes and stuff like that already stays inside that black box. So so keeping it short, the paint tech is supposed to have the complete bucket already, plus the inside the black box and his little mobile office already, because he's supposed to be trained already on the paperwork side, and you know what I mean, because he's gonna be taking care of liberated guys already, keeping track of the hours and stuff like that. So
signing slips, and as far as on the paint tech side, the mobile office is basically, you've seen my black clipboard, it closes, it's like a case.
Right, with the Ziploc.
No, it's a regular clipboard. You ever seen them? Some are made aluminum, mine happens to be plastic.
Yeah.
It's got a hinge on it, you can open
it's
it.
a clipboard that has
Almost like
a
this.
compartment underneath.
Yeah.
It opens up.
Sometimes I have an aluminum one. It's
Yes.
in a box.
Right.
Back in the day, we used a lot of those.
As you grow, I mean, you're starting off with an emergency bucket. You're picking up items as a paint pro. As you start becoming a tech, the black box, which is those large boxes, as you grow, everything fits in that box. As you grow, that box grows. So if it's your road or to everything you need between Paintmaster, Pro, Tech Pro, and even it's paving the way to you want to leave and go on the corporate side. I mean, those are your tools, those are your things that go with you. But you should be able to open up your black box and basically be able to perform. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once you get up to a Pro box for a tech,
Yes.
you should be able to pull up to any fire escape and do anything level 1, basically. Level 1, level 2.
And most level 2s.
Right out of your box.
Yes.
Okay.
And of course, there are races that come with it, because you are supposed to acquire all those tools, new or used. Sometimes the boss will complete a bucket and sell it to you, because it's a lot cheaper than getting everything new from the store and stuff like that. Like a pawn shop version of it. What's the next line again?
Yeah, we're on 7.
8.
8, yeah.
We're 8 now, yeah.
Okay. Clean, organize, and maintain the fabrication shop and other facilities.
Okay, so part of being responsible, and part of the contract is that you need to be. We have a thing called the broom test. Somebody came up with this test. So the story goes like this: some guy wanted a cleaning lady to clean his house, right? So he interviewed 3 ladies, right? And as a test for who was going to clean his house, right? He left a broom on the floor, like one push broom or whatever broom on the floor, you know what I mean? Right at the door, as soon as they come in, so he called them in. Right at the door, and then two of the ladies walk over the broom and grab it and put it up on the, you know what I mean, put it somewhere, you know what I mean, kind of thing. Like they didn't notice what's going on, you know what I mean. They're not like. I guess the guy expected the cleaning people to at least be OCD, right? Because you're the cleaning lady. So the third one came, grabbed the broom, put it somewhere, and then said, okay, I'm here, so what do you want to, so the guy right away. Long story short, you got the job because you did this and that. That was just a test. So the broom test is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for this company has a culture, right? The boss is OCD, so we become OCD as well, kind of thing. So we're always trying to organize. You'll notice that already.
Yeah,
organize.
keep all the tools in the proper
Resetting
boxes.
everything as we do. So
treat your work area and the tools as if you would your own home.
yeah,
Again, that goes back to responsibility and moral. I mean,
Safety too.
nobody should have to come behind you and pick up.
the broom test is a metaphor. It can be anything. It can be a caulking tube. You grab that, put it back in the box. So it can be anything that's out of place. You're always resetting things, and that goes to this line. Keep maintain everything, all the facilities clean and stuff.
Again, we're going from 2 to 8, or actually the term we use is 3 to 30, 30 to 300, and people that are building with us. Again, we need to police ourselves in a lot of this stuff. It's like your buddy, you go to the gym together, but you don't want to go to the gym. Hey, come on, we're going to the gym. Policing this stuff so it doesn't get out of control like it has.
Yep.
Keep up with it.
Things are chaos right now.
You're trying to say.
It's real easy when you're at 30 and you have plenty of labor around, but it easily gets out of freaking control. So
You're saying that we are, future we have 3, maybe 30 or 300, so we don't want to duplicate. You know what I mean? Duplicate
bad habits.
Bad habits. Duplicate only the good things. Next line.
Do basic vehicle maintenance, check fluid, battery, gas level, clean it, etc.
Of course, it's just part of being responsible to check it out. Or explain to them that the truck is making some noise. I think it has to do with the power steering or something.
Again, there's chaos. It's very important for everybody to do that because you may forget it.
Yep.
So I do it. I may forget it. He does it. Very important to keep up on maintenance because it does slide by. Things do get chaotic, but again, it goes back to basics. If it was your own vehicle, you would, especially as a driver, you pull up to the gas station. It's real easy to check the fluids.
Before you should always do a once around the vehicle, check out the wheels, make sure the
it's called a circle check. Circle check. Lights work, so forth, and that's something. While your vehicle's filling up, it's a 5-minute circle check. I'm guilty of it. Have I been doing it? No. But is it important? Yes, because it really sucks when you don't tell somebody that there's an issue, or and you're broken down on the road on the Jersey Turnpike somewhere.
You didn't check the oil.
And it's a real kick in the butt when.
I don't want the vehicle to break down either.
Well, it's a real kick. It's a real kick in the butt, and it's definitely negligence when. You pop a motor or something in a truck and you put the dipstick in and there's 2 quarts of oil in there. That's just,
Prevented.
So.
It's part of being responsible. Give a shit about other people's.
I think everybody's clear on that. So, next.
Okay. Know how to read maps and or GPS.
That one is easier. Well, again,
Easier said than done sometimes.
yeah. The GPS is the only part that I want to add is the GPS. The book that we read, right? The EMF books. The best definition I got for a system, which almost everything's a system. You know what I mean? Computer's a system. This sheet is a system, right? The best definition I got for a system is that a system is a leverage. You know what I mean? leverage ordinary people. That's what the book says. Leverage ordinary people to do extraordinary things. You know what I mean? Back at the shop, you know, if you get into it, you're most likely gonna get into it anyways. To grow more, you're gonna have to get into the fabrication part of it a little bit. At the shop, there's a bunch of jigs and templates, which are the systems of fabrications and stuff. And for example, to make a stringer from scratch, you probably won't. You know, if you're not good with math, you probably won't get it. You know what I mean? But because of a template, a jig that we have there in Somerville, I can teach you how to make a stringer in like 10-15 minutes. You know, because of that little template. You don't need
to drill the holes in.
Yeah, you don't need to know from scratch. You don't need to know how to do. I know how to do from scratch. But you know, so
As you grow as a fabricator, though, and you're good at arithmetic, you will have the skills to make your own templates in the future.
yeah. But that's the beauty about it. You don't. You just need to because that kind of negates the system a little bit. Like I believe, based in the book, you don't ever need to learn. You just need to learn how to use the system. You know what I mean? Because this is skill versus system. We don't want skill. We want, you know what I mean? It's systems.
Again, we're getting a little off base here on number. We're getting a little off base here on number 10. I just want to.
No, yeah, I'm getting to it. So I'm very the system leverages people. Okay, it leverages ordinary people to do extraordinary things. So because of that template at the shop, right? You can do it took me months or years to learn how to do from scratch. The same result comes. That's what I said. That's the beauty of a system. And everybody knows. A lot of people knows that I'm very bad with directions, right? It's one thing I'm bad with. I still have trouble getting to my house, believe it or not, with a car. You know, like coming from Boston, I have trouble.
If you don't drive every day,
yeah,
it's understandable.
It's something I have. You know, I'm bad with directions. So, but I have a leverage. I have a GPS. You know, GPS is a leverage, and I use it. I use it on my phone. I follow that thing, and I get home. See how, you know. So like I tell Manny, GPS makes me like you. You know, the GPS leverages me to be just like Manny, and we're both the same.
And he brings up Manny because Manny is a professional driver, CDL, and truck. You know.
Right now, he's the only one I trust.
So with a system.
Like I got into 87 North coming home. I didn't have to tell him anything else. I could have gone to sleep. But you know, right now he's the only one I could trust. You know, even Johnny got lost a little bit in Boston. But the point is, because of the system that is a GPS, he leveraged me to be just like Manny. See, there's all his skills just because of I added a GPS to the equation. So going back to GPS. If I can't trust a GPS,
A system can take somebody from level 1 to level 2 almost very quickly.
Well, there's a difference there, though.
leverage.
If something happens with the GPS or there's a problem, Manny's going to be able to be more. He can see a route, and he may realize also that he's going the wrong way. Where if the GPS is programmed wrong or something, and you don't know.
As a professional driver, though, he already kind of knows to look for height restrictions, to look for no truck signs. That comes with experience.
And a driver knows he's heading west when he should be heading east. There's a problem.
Yes. So that's that. Again, it sounds like I'm being long-winded on the same subject, but I do believe this is important.
Well,
just the GPS is not like trustworthy, or it's not set right, then you know you go.
I think it should be expected though to look at our route before we leave, to know our routes before we leave.
Cover a basis kind of.
And then follow the global, the GPS.
Right. Again, preparation.
Yes.
So, moving on to 11.
Sometimes with supervision, due to fire escape mechanic tasks, categorized as special projects, sometimes as one of the ways to move up in rank. So sometimes with supervision, do fire escape mechanic tasks categorized as special projects as one of the ways to move up in rank.
Yes.
Well,
get started on welding, torch cutting, fire escape repair, level 1 drawing, and have a notion of building codes for fabrication.
Good. So you're paying tech, right? And you want to move up, right? Because that's where the pay is, right? As you move along, right? This is the next level. The next level of pay, right? This is fire escape mechanical level. That's why it's called a special project, because you do it with supervision. You don't know. You're not responsible for it if it goes wrong, because you don't know, right? So you gotta do it with supervision. For example, you're paying tech, and I want you to fabricate steps. You know, you're supposed to have somebody supervise you from start to finish, because that's a special projects, and that's also propelling to the right direction towards the fire escape mechanic side. That's what it means. See, any of these little things, it says level 1's here, right? Level 1's of everything. This level 1's 2 and 3. Okay, level 1 fabrication, level 2 fabrication, level 3. Same thing goes for fire escape repair. It's level 1, 2, and 3, 4, almost everything. So all you're required to do is special projects level 1. Because level 1 is like the start of the fire escape mechanic.
Bolts of opportunity.
Yeah, bolts of opportunity. You're a painter, but we're gonna ask you to start changing bolts on steps and rails, because that's the level 1 fire escape repair. And level 2 is when you get up high, harness and the whole thing, fix underneath, cementing, all this stuff. And level 3 is a whole nother monster.
Mechanical.
Yeah, level 3 is a whole nother monster. It's fabrication, you know what I mean? Fix something that's big.
Example of level
Like
3
truck.
is in Philadelphia, where those platforms were collapsing. That's level 3 work all day long. That's a very dangerous situation.
So again, you're supposed to always be growing, and under supervision, you're supposed to be touching the level 1s of the next level.
So I mean, when I'm working on a level 3 fire escape,
but you're not gonna be doing level 3 work ever if you're painting. You're not gonna be on top of a staging, fixing something. You know what I mean, in the air, or fixing some rod. No, you're gonna be. You may be able to paint. You may be painting something in the air with a harness, but not gonna be fixing. Fixing.
No more. You mean?
Huh?
We were doing that stuff last week.
Fixing something. Swapping bolts on a support. Like that's gonna. If you don't know how to properly secure it, it might collapse on you. You know what I mean? So that's level 2 and stuff.
As a paint master,
I mean, I'm gonna do whatever you ask me.
we'll get into it. But as a paint master, you're running everything paint related. Okay, as a paint master, there's crews of 3. Every crew is supposed to have a paint master, a fire escape tech, and like a laborer. Do we bring in another team of 3? Do we bring in laborer? Yes, but as a paint master, you're setting the pace for everything paint, caulking related. You're feeding the tech, because the tech's not even supposed to come down from his ladder. You may be setting him up with a paint bucket.
What happens in this company? A lot is sometimes people, because they don't want to paint, and because they want to make themselves useful, they actually start touching fire escape mechanic stuff and shit, and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially when it has to be done before the paint. So a lot of the times I'm gonna have to do the mechanical aspect of it to get the paint on.
But if you start getting into level 2s and 3s and stuff, it's kind of like you jump from first grade to 5th grade kind of thing, and then you're like, oh, why am I not getting paid for? You know what I mean? 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. I say, yeah, because you didn't do it. And like, oh yeah, but I'm doing all this good stuff on the 5th grade. I said, yeah, it happens all the time, And that's why I try to follow the whole process, the whole step by step. It says here at the end of the contract. I was gonna read it at the end, but I can read it now.
Well,
It says here the certified painted master, right? After you graduate all this thing. A certified paint master is equivalent to a fire escape mechanic in training. So, because you gotta do all those level 1 things, after you pass, you're already a fire escape mechanic in training. You're already level 1 fire escape mechanic, because you have to, as you're passing the painter, you're already touching, the level 1s of everything.
as you're painting the paint, as you're touching the paint, you've already begun your internship as a tech.
Okay. As soon as you pass that, you're already a fire escape mechanic in training.
Number 12. Are we moving on?
Yes.
Be on constant self-development mode within the pre-established time period allowed for each learned skill and based on his or her career aspirations. Sorry, there's a pen on the... Must read, take notes, discuss, and utilize the delegation book. Must meet the minimum weekly amount of personal development based on your work hours to avoid suspension. To avoid suspension, you must watch instructional videos and write about them on your book of knowledge. Must participate in lunch and learn classes and etc.
So you've been watching videos already, right?
Yeah.
I hope you're writing about them already. 'Cause like I said,
No, I haven't been writing about them, but I haven't got the link that you sent me.
Yeah.
We'll check that. I sent it this morning.
Oh, alright, maybe I did then. I was looking for it over the weekend.
Yep. So we talked about special projects, right? So, for example, you get 30 hours a week, right? And then you show us a good amount of videos, right? Oh, I watched 10 hours of video and stuff like that. Then we'll, as a reward, you are gonna get more hours to complete your, to fill up your hours on the weekly as. That's why we call it special projects. Cleaning something, doing something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's how it is. So that's basically it's like an incentive for you to grow more. So you learn, you document, and you prove that you're learning, and you get rewarded as with more hours. Because until then, it's just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you're just gonna get stuck and not learn nothing, it's just Tuesday, Wednesday. Because we don't want to have to worry about you the other days, stuff like that. So
Again, I just want to add into that. That's why we're going to the 3-day week, so that there's time for personal development. Andre was talking about special projects. There's a little bit of confusion. If you are going to the program and you are learning, that's where special projects, and I'm using Mondays and Fridays as an example, because you are self-educating, you are moving along. Again, it's a 3 to 5 year program. Can you do it in a year and a half? Yeah, that's entirely up to the individual.
Yes.
Okay. Normal people should be able to. Normal span is 3 to 5 years to go through level 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
We've had contractors that, of course, they have no choice but to learn as fast as they can, but they also sometimes try to cheat. But they do have the ability to learn in 1 year, but it's gonna be, you can't, you can't play games and just stay at it, eat the book kind of thing. So there is a possibility because a company on a contract, they don't want to be wasting too much time, you know what I mean? Because again, just like us, they got the reward system based on what they know, you know what I mean? They're gonna learn the same thing pretty much. They're gonna learn the same thing plus other things too, you know what I mean? So they don't have 3 years to spend on that, 5 years. They gotta, you know what I mean? They gotta go quick, fast paced. What else?
13. Know proper scraping techniques and be responsible for the full scrape and paint setup. Must help the fire emergency mechanic with site preparation, setup, tarps, electrical, staging, and etc.
Sounds simple enough, right?
Yeah. Self-explanatory.
You as a paint master, as a paint tech or paint master, you're responsible for anything paint related, right? And you're supposed to help the fire escape mechanic too, or the fire escape master or whatever. Supposed to help them with their setup, and also supposed to always be resetting. Remember the broom thing? Always be resetting. But the only setup that really responsible for, like, making, you know what I mean? Making it make sense is the paint setup. The other setup is the fire escape mechanic is responsible for. You know what I mean? Responsible for making it make sense. Okay, it's right. It's a rainy day, right? You know, obviously, you know, I took a picture. I don't know if you noticed the setup that I made in on top of the roof there. It wasn't. We were working on the rain. It was awful there, but you know, I tried to make as best as I could. Again, we out of state. I don't want to take a day off. And plus, the next day was gonna rain anyways. You know, it's like, if it wasn't gonna rain, I would actually stay. I would have actually stayed. But the point is, we have all these tools that we use to make sure the job goes as smooth as possible. You saw that already. And the setup has to make sense. It has to be
Professionalized in an unprofessional business.
properly set for efficiency and productivity. That's all. Yes, it makes sense. You can't have the hand tools very close to the paint. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can't have your fabrication table there where you're gonna be grinding stuff close to the thinner. You know what I mean, kind of thing. So it's all, you know. Some of it's common sense. Some has to be thought, but it always has to make sense.
Be responsible for the constant reorganizing of all workstations, especially the paint station, and must always assist the fire escape mechanic on whatever they need.
Yeah, I just talked about that.
Tool control /
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to 15
Yes.
then. Be able to delegate to and oversee his assessments.
Assistance.
Assistance. Oh.
So, you know, liberate guys or
Be able to
anybody that's-
delegate and keep them busy
anybody
and
that's
use them
studying. Yeah, anybody that's studying.
as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
16. Have his in-house safety certificate. Must wear goggles and gloves at all times, hard hat and harness, mask and hazmat suits when dust or lead contamination issues present themselves. Must know how to do tie-offs for high jobs and etc.
So again, Andre, correct me if I'm,
Yes.
because this also ties into pay raises. Again, you go and get your OSHA 10, whether you do it via internet or actually take the 10-hour class somewhere. You're reimbursed for that, and right there is a pay raise, I believe,
Yes.
once you complete that. Again, I think EPA class falls into that same category. If you pass your EPA, you get reimbursed for it
That's
and a
not
pay
the-
raise.
That's not the in-house though. The in-house is, you know, the stuff that we learn here. You know, the common sense stuff that we learn here. But yeah, all the stuff will be, you know, rewarded.
And again, going back to where we just touch base on a paint master overseeing labor readies, entry level people coming in. It's all our responsibility to be following safety, and again, looking out for one another. As we grow, there'll be, in any company, there's weekly safety meetings, so forth, so on. This is a dangerous.
I was working in the, I don't know if this is the same in Boston, but I was working in that Pittsburgh job. I don't know if you guys seen the video about that job. And you know, it's a big, you know, it's a big union job, right? And there was every week they had the, you know, the guy had the safety word of the week kind of thing written out on the chalkboard, something like that.
But where I'm getting at with safety, until, you know, and as we grow, this guy plugs in. This guy's a mechanic. He plugs something in without a GFI. This is policing ourselves.
Yes.
It's your responsible to look out for, look out for him. Hey, what about your GFI?
Yes.
Same thing. You know, you're getting up on something without a harness. You're not. It's his responsibility, and vice versa. We're all supposed to look out for each other for safety at all times, especially labor-ready guys who don't know any better. There's a certain set of rules. Labor-ready guys aren't even supposed to be on a ladder over 6 feet.
And I'm not gonna say I do that, and I'm not gonna say I do all of that as as muscle memory, right? Because I'm responsible. Well, listen, sometimes people say, "Hey, wear your harness," or, you know what I mean. I'm not gonna fight. You know what I mean. That's part of being. Remember, I was telling you about morally right, or legally required, right? So.
What's legally? Let me interject here. What's legally correct?
Yes.
Okay. an example of this?
Yes.
You're not tied off. We're working in downtown Philly where OSHA's walking around everywhere. You're on the front side of a fire escape. You're not tied off. It's not you that's going to get that fine or not wearing a hard hat. It's the company. Each employee, no hard hat, $100.
On the Pittsburgh job, it was like that too.
Harness could be $500, could be $1,000. You know, they don't mess around. It's very easy for OSHA to come by and slap you, because if they find one issue, the next thing's a GFI. It says it's very easy for them to walk up on a 3-man team doing a fire escape, ground fault. You plug that in first. Again, we'll go over this. I'm trying to keep this short and nasty, but if it saves you from getting electrocuted.
Yeah,
if there's not a ground fault built into a plug, you want a GFI coming out of it, which we have those.
Yes.
But it's very easy for what I was saying. It's very easy on a 3-man team doing a fire escape for an OSHA guy to walk up at any time and hand out about $10,000 in fines.
I'm sure.
Very simple. So, moving along.
Have the renovator's license, the EPA Environmental Protection Agency lead awareness course, plus the in-house paint master certification.
Okay. So, basically you gotta.
Where do you get a renovator's license?
It's the EPA course that you gotta take. I think it's $250 a full day.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the in-house paint master certification?
Again, this thing you gotta pass this whole thing. That's how you get your in-house cert. You gotta pass all these things. As soon as we say okay, you got it. So
Which with your skill set and what I think you know, it shouldn't take you long to do this stuff. A lot of it is the best way to word this. A lot of what's on here is common sense, common knowledge with any accountable, responsible employee. Do you agree, Andre?
yes.
Someone that's been in the type of field too. I mean, maybe if somebody was walking.
Well, again, we're trying to build a system here, and that's taking somebody from an entry level. So obviously, it's going to take, somebody who's never worked in the trades. Which, if they're accountable and responsible people, sure, they can come in and be a part of the system. Is it going to take them a little bit longer? Possibly.
To learn terminology and some stuff. Okay, 18, mustn't be afraid of heights.
Right.
No problem there. 19, do his and his assistant's time tracking.
So I had a problem with this 18 before. So this guy was trying to like find a loophole in this line, right? 18, because somebody in power had told him before the 18 line mustn't be afraid of heights. Somebody in power had told him before that paint masters are supposed to be on the ground. You know what I mean? Always resetting and stuff, and working on the and working 10 foot down underneath the first landing. For example, you're the paymaster. You work underneath the first landing. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna be required to be passing tools up to mechanics. With the elevator and stuff. So it's best for you to stay down there. You know what I mean? Working out there. So this guy was trying to find a loophole and said, I'm a paymaster. I'm not supposed to go up on the fire escape or very high. I said, dude, yeah, but the line 18 says that you are required not to be afraid of heights because you can't. Because sometimes they're going to be required to work on the fire escape 10 stories high. Because I've worked on the fire escape 10 stories high. So he's trying to find a loophole so he won't do it. It's part of his character there.
If you're afraid of heights, it's gonna impede on your ability to grow as a fire escape mechanic because
They go up high.
right.
Again, the whole reason why he was saying that because he didn't want to do any work on the fire escape itself. So that's what he was trying to do.
Do we want you working in unsafe conditions? If you think something's unsafe,
No.
especially dealing with heights, you bring it to the leader.
Chief's attention.
You tell the right people. I don't have the right equipment to do this safely. You bring that point up. because again, it's safety.
Again,
Safety.
It wasn't about safety. It was, he thought it was being taken advantage of. Because as you saw on the lines before, you're supposed to, paymaster supposed to organize this, do the setup, and do that, and help the other guy do the setup. So it's a lot of work, right? And then after that, you still got to go up and work. So he thought it was being taken advantage of. So it's like, and someone with power told him that paymaster should most of the time stay underneath the first landing. So he took that as a law. And he never wanted to go up because he already worked enough setting up. So it's like trying to get a loophole, find a loophole in there. It wasn't about safety. Okay.
19 again,
19. Yeah.
which
Should I read it again? Do his and his assistant's time tracking, use the threefold weekly sheet and other approved tracking systems, plus the week at a glance book for paint masters.
Did you show him the 3-week fold?
no, we haven't. We're not going to get into that. It's a time card. You need to be shown how to fill out a time card. But approved tracking systems, we have now gone to using Facebook. Okay, so that's something that needs to be sat down and discussed. Are we going back to the time cards? I'm sure.
To cover my butt, I was gonna teach the what's his name, Jeff, the threefold. So in case but just in case, because again, I don't think the Facebook will suffice. You're gonna have your own tracking system as well.
Right,
So-
because some people don't have technology or the capability of punching in and out. Again, this goes back to leaders and tracking time of the people working for you. In other words, if you were a paint master, you'd be tracking all the labor-ready guys or anybody.
Yeah.
Working under me.
Correct. So,
I think there was also a backup system. It was always 3. So even with this Facebook, we're gonna have to most likely stay with the.
again, the Week at a Glance book is the book you see me filling out all the time. Your planner, your daily planner. That's another thing to discuss. I wouldn't worry about a 90.
Your book is a day in a glance. The week in a glance. Yeah, the Paymaster is the week in a glance, right?
Yeah.
It's a thinner one. It's less, less paperwork. But again, we gotta talk about it because
You gonna give me this book or no?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think, and I'll have to verify this, in the first 90 days of anybody, because I don't think you have to worry about a week at a glance, because we don't have time to mess around with people, okay? I need to build teams before we get into the Ophelia crab season, which is March, April, and the whole 90-day trial period. I'm going to be bringing lots of people in here and using them and trying to grow. The people who can grow the fastest and show that they're eager and are making advancements are going to stay in the mix.
Capable.
Okay?
Competent.
Right. Did I explain that
yes.
properly?
During the 90 days, then he may not be required to do that. But then again, we are gonna verify this to clarify with you because I think it's important. But I think he is gonna have to prove himself in the 90 days. You know what I mean? And
Right.
part of proving himself is doing all the paperwork and stuff. So we are gonna have to clarify as soon as we can what he's required to do to prove himself, because that's what he's trying to do, prove himself within the 90 days. So we gotta
Have
give a
that.
clear answer of what is required to do or not. I think he is gonna be required to do it as if he was working. He was already fully hired. You know what I mean? Because that is the test. Well, we gotta clarify that
Okay.
as soon as possible.
Should I keep going then?
Yeah.
Okay. Teach his assistants using his own video library. Teach his assistant paint tech skills.
Okay. Your library means what your book of knowledge or your videos you already been making. Yeah, your own video library or your book of knowledge. So you already use your own thing to teach your assistants. either it's a library guy or somebody that came after you. You know what I mean? So it's standard.
21.
Always duplicating, always about duplicating.
Yeah.
To the best of our abilities on all levels. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And using video is a good way to duplicate. Just to record it
And to prove that you're duplicating. So.
Right.
That's what you're saying. No level 1 fire escape repair. Must know painting, scraping, safety, internalization, job site preparation, caulking, cementing, and simple repairs, etc.
Simple level 1 repair. You gotta touch all of this. Level 1s.
Know how to set up the paint station and do the paint area protection. Meaning know how to protect your paint area. Meaning covering windows, floors, walls, entryways, fabrication of shop, and etc.
Perfect example of that is our last paint master, or so-called paint master. You saw the front facade. Would you consider that a paint master doing that work?
Well,
You
they
pick,
definitely didn't properly prepare the surrounding areas,
Okay.
that's for sure.
so
You got drips and stuff.
Overspray.
drips, overspray, taped it with the wrong tape. You know, using
I saw him. I saw
using spray cans at $5 a can. You know, if you wanted to spray, you could have probably taped it off, and very easy used a gun. A lot of cars out there, so you shouldn't even spray it out there. Anyways, a lot of cars parked out there, but.
Easy enough to cut and roll it.
Again, there's a professional painter and there's a wannabe. I'm telling you, I'm a professional painter, and this has been the problem in the past. You know, getting the carrot before you've gotten the certification.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But this is 2015 coming up, and that's not going to happen anymore. So, moving along.
Know how to build enclosures for power scraping, lead contaminant, propane drying, rain protection, etc.
Enclosures are there for a couple of reasons. You don't want to overspray in an area, or you don't want to protect yourself against rain or something. You know what I mean? There's the weather situation. Last week this week I tried to enclose myself a little bit because it rained. Just like here, you know, it rained steady, not heavily but steady. If it was heavily, I couldn't work at all. You know, you can't fight. You can only fight nature to a certain point. So I was able to do a lot, not as much as I would if it was a dry day, right? But you know, I had a tent set up, I had some tarps set up, and so that's what the enclosure is. The enclosure against elements, and the enclosure for because you don't want to overspray stuff like that. You want to spray something. You want to scrape something. You don't want the dust
everywhere. Yeah, it's
dust
big.
or lead
paint.
stuff,
Yeah.
or lead dust to go. So.
I mean, there are makeshift enclosures that we can make for doing structural on extreme cold days, and throwing a salamander in there, kind of draping it with clear plastic so you don't lose your daylight. However, you know, trying to paint in that environment, you may be inviting a hazard. So.
You get these if you're painting and stuff. So.
I mean, that's pretty big though for the scraping aspect.
Yes.
With I know with lead dust and any type of grinding on that type of
Yes.
stuff. Just because it can just throw it, roost its tail. You really want to plastic it up.
We try not to grind as
Keep
much
it
as we can. We're trying to just scrape.
Yeah.
I don't have my renovator's license, my EPA, which I do want to take that. I have my OSHA 10, I have my OSHA 30, I have my supervisors. Okay, I've got certification in swing stage and aerial lifts. On the EPA, I don't know anything, but there's a certain percentage that you can remove, because we're not scraping it down, complete to bare metal, the whole thing. That would cost an exorbitant amount of money to do that. If you're only scraping a certain percentage,
Just the loose.
and again, I'm not speaking intelligently here until I take my EPA class, but if you're only removing 10% per day or whatever, which is basically the loose.
I think I don't remember now.
See, I can't speak intelligently on that, but you still fall within the EPA
I
guidelines.
did read a big chunk of the book, and I think it says 4 square feet or protections. You know, anything bigger than 4 square feet, you gotta, you know what I mean, do the whole protection.
The whole EPA thing, right?
Protection. So, what we usually do when we really have to protect, when we really have to protect the fire escape, what we usually do is like we have a scrape day. You know what I mean? We go there and scrape the whole,
Prep it out.
most of the, you know, everything except, you know, the only thing we're not gonna be scraping is like between the connections, because, you know, while we're fixing it, you know, that's gonna have to be scraped. So
Right, just like you did, as you drop the treads,
yeah,
you're going to clean out all the rust jacking,
Yeah.
on all the connections, whether it's the structure, whether it's supports, but
we do the proper setup and scrape the whole thing, you know, as much as we can. Again, aside from the connections, and then after that we all set, because it's gonna be minimal now. It's still gonna have a little bit, but not much. Yeah. And plus, we try not to use grinders and stuff. You know what I mean? Much for cutting boards, yeah, but not for scraping. You know, use a wire brush on a grinder. You don't do that much at all, because the fumes.
These little hammers work pretty good too, don't they?
Yeah, they don't. You know, they don't make a lot of dust. You know, they make a lot of fumes. You know. The grind is what kills you.
Moving on.
yes.
Know all the brands and codes of the paints used by Fire Escape Services and their proper application. Rust-Oleum, gloss black and primer, paint thinner, Galvite, Xylene, wood
Xylene.
stain, wood stain, latex paint, and etc.
Okay.
Know the ideal painting conditions based on the manufacturer's specs. Temperature, proper paint preparation procedures for diverse paint jobs, including paint dilution combinations for a spray gun, for water, oil, and epoxy-based paints, surface preparation, humidity, and other issues, etc.
Okay.
Okay.
Straightforward.
What's that? Straightforward, yeah.
Straightforward.
Know how to properly seal joints and connections with caulking by Fire Escape Services standards. 35-year caulking, cement caulking, tarring, non-paintable caulk, etc.
So on the caulking thing, you think the 35-year one is ideal, or still good, right?
Say that again?
The 35-year silicone is
Yes,
good enough for a warranty, right?
right.
Because
Again, it's a maintainable item,
it's paintable too, so
Right.
that over.
and it's a maintainable item. What kills all these fire escapes is improper maintenance. We do have a corrosion protection plan that we offer clients, but I think Andre can verify this. If you properly maintained paint and caulking, these fire escapes would outlast 3 lifetimes.
When it comes to that.
Because they did last. Before we touched them, they did last 3 lifetimes. You know, they were
Right.
there for 75 years, most of them.
So we bring them back to life and waterproof them, and you know, it's up to the customer to, again, paint is a maintainable item, caulk is a maintainable item.
Yes.
Do I think it's actually a 35-year silicone or caulk? That's to be debated.
Gotcha. But our warranty is 10 years, you know, so it's bound to last more than that no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why would we use non-paintable caulking?
So we can paint over it. So we can paint over it. Sometimes we have...
Pure silicone
It's not paintable.
is not paintable.
Why
There are brands out there, DAP has, that is paintable silicone. It's a certain percentage silicone, certain percentage, so forth. But like silicones are silicones are fantastic. Most silicones, when you're working with brand new surfaces, again, and this is the knowledge on the manufacturer's spec, because a lot of silicones, for example, glass work on window storefronts, so forth, commercial applications. Once somebody uses urethane, you scrape the urethane out, which has to be replaced, you know, every 5 to 10 years, and you try to fill it with silicone. It doesn't adhere properly. The two aren't compatible. Okay, so same application here, but that DAP brand, which it's not a pure silicone, is paintable, so it does have adhesion power and is compatible with other products.
Yes.
So,
That's part of just being paint master. You gotta know all the products, what's available, and where to apply them, obviously.
Yes. We do
I just want to bring this. Oh. this up. There's our way. There's a better way we discussed yesterday, or the highway. So right now we're using DAP. You know what? If you ever want to do your homework, and you find a better way, or you know a better way, share.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about helping out the company and growing as a company. You know, you're now becoming a systems developer.
Right.
Correct, Andre?
And that's kind of what we've discussed. You gotta research.
I do like 100% silicone sometimes, but then you gotta buy the right quality, that you're gonna use, because
Can't be painted.
non-paintable.
And but then if you get into things, certain colors, basic colors are almond, black.
Bronze.
Yeah.
There's basic colors that we use, but we do get into odd duck colors. So now trying a caulking that'll match that silicone is like almost impossible. So you have to go with a paintable caulk, obviously.
I was trying to paint everything black. I'm trying to convince the client to paint everything black. Some colors black. Sometimes I got brown. Sometimes I got almond.
But we're getting into a technical lesson here, so.
Yeah, but the reason why you get paintable is for that, like you said, we can just throw the black into it and then paint over it.
Okay. The minimum weekly amount of personal development based on your work hours. To avoid suspension, must watch instructional videos and write about them in your book of knowledge. Must participate in the lunch and learn classes.
Am I on the wrong one here? What number are you on?
27, is it?
No, 12.
12.
12.
Still at the end of 12, yeah.
12.
So we passed that. We're on 20 something.
Well, you're talking about
12.
sealing joints, right?
I just read this right here.
Sealing joints.
Beyond constant self. Oh no, wait a minute, sorry. Know how to properly seal, yeah.
You should be on page 3.
Have mason skills that meet FES standards, hydraulic, cement, concrete mix, sono tube, and etc.
Sure.
Never used hydraulic cement, but
Hydraulic cement, all it does is it dries quicker.
Fast acting.
You have to be careful. You can do a 50-50 mix. Sometimes you want it
sand and cement.
so it doesn't dry so quick. You use it in cold weather. You have like 5 minutes to work with it before it's hot in the bucket. So
Really?
again, it's a technical lesson. It's very easy stuff to work with. There's also on level 1s, repairs, emergency repairs. There's cement caulking. Very simple to use, but
Can you repoint with that?
yeah, you can point with it. A lot of roofers would use it for pointing on a chimney. Trying to put step lashing in rather than make a mix and bring it up there. Again, we're getting into a technical lesson. There's 5 different ways we can point depending on what the application is.
Know the approximate curing times for various types of paints based on temperature. Must sometimes use the heat gun or other types of artificial heat sources to speed up drying process or because of cold season. Like the heat enclosure for the whole fire escape.
Again, I need to verify this because you're building an enclosure. You have volatile paint. We're using oil-based paints, which is flammable. So you have the gases in there. If you're just pumping a flame in there, I can't verify that.
Yeah. Like a propane with
A salamander.
a propane with a friggin' with a bunch of oil-based paint. Yeah. For example, we've used it before. The trailer as a heat enclosure. Like we got steps there that needs to dry up and stuff. We close it and we turn on the heater. Obviously, keep away from the paint. To make sure the thing is about 50 degrees so you can dry it as quick as possible.
If you don't have the room on the trailer, you can also set up a staging or a baker's with hooks, kind of, and give it somewhat some heat.
Maybe just point the salamander into it or something.
Just make sure it's not
Again, that's
doesn't burn
Like,
because it definitely has thinner because
No, I know. That shit will light up if
it
you
needs
get
to be
a flame on it.
tinned out. You know what I mean?
so.
What about electric heater though? You could put electric heater inside a little.
Yeah, we use
Well, like exactly like a Polonus heater, which doesn't.
Yeah, that stuff we use too, but it's just not as warm. So, no.
Well, the Polonus heaters like this, It's a small box.
The
And it,
radiator one we got in the bathroom.
a Polonus actually blows out a hot air, but it's not, like a salamander almost has a flame to the end of it. It's too hot too fast, which could ignite. Polonus is a little bit a version down from that.
Just a fan over a coil.
Again, I'm not complete as a paint master, so you know, these drying techniques, some of them I'm concerned about
Yes.
on the safety end. So, you know,
we outside, we out of state. We're trying to get the job done. You know what I mean?
but
Still close.
some of these plastic enclosures on the whole fire escape and heating it, you know, and it's been painted.
Yeah.
You know, you're turning that into a big napalm
Yeah.
bomb. You know,
Fume ball.
yeah. Well, a flash fire.
Yeah.
Poof, everybody's eyebrows are gone. You know, they may be gone, but now the plastic melts, and so I'm concerned with some of that.
The flash fire. That's funny.
Next.
Know how to use and properly maintain the spray gun, the electric gun, the compressed gun, the airless gun, the pump sprayer, and the VOC gun. So I've used most of those.
Those are the ones we use. I mean, the electric gun we use a lot on site.
Is that electric cup gun or something?
Yeah, the ones.
Yeah.
Like a Wagner or something.
And we got the plastic.
We have the cheap VOC guns like that. We have the $1,500 one that's sitting in the.
More familiar with the airless, like the Titan airless ones.
The one with the 5-gallon bucket there.
Yeah, you drop the airless.
That's the airless one, yeah.
That's airless. And the VOC guns, I thought usually is with the pot, and the line comes off.
Correct.
To the
Which that's the one that we have, the expensive one.
You'll see it has its own compressor kind of thing.
Yeah, keep it under pressure. Know how to set up the dipping station and fabricate a dipping tub, scaffolding, old ladders, hooks, tarps, dipping tub, 5-gallon bucket, etc.
Jesus, who wrote this thing? I write all the explanation there. And I write the whole class there too, so like, this is what consists on the dipping station, right? Scaffolding, old ladders, because you know, you set up a scaffolding and put a ladder there, because you know, the ladder has rungs, right?
We have
And
hooks.
you hook through the rungs, you know, like to, when you dip a step, you hook it like sideways to let it drip, kind of thing, or grading, you know.
Oh, you dip steps, yeah?
Yeah, that's the dipping station to make it, you know, for more, for efficiency, you know, as fast as you can. Sometimes, I like to dip. The new type of grading steps because it kind of sucks the paint goes. You know what I mean?
Trying to get a sausage roller in there and this and that, or
Spray them 5 different ways.
exactly. So if you just dip them and hang them.
Yeah, some recovery system to let it drip in them.
The old type of steps are easy to paint because you know it doesn't have a lot of separations. But
Right.
the new steps, if I had a chance, I would dip all of them. You know, either that, or you gotta enclose and spray some. You know, not fully enclosed, but and then spray somehow. You know.
Yeah. It's a lot of spraying too.
So I'll explain to you later on how the dipping station is made. I mean, dipping tub is made.
Beside the containers over there, there's ones that all kinds of dipping tubs over there that we've made. You know, you can make it out of plywood and 2x4s. In some caulk, you know, you caulk around the 2x4s before you put the plywood on, so the paint doesn't seep through. I mean,
Simple. It's very simple.
it's basic.
Last time we built one for us for the DC job, the movie theater there, but we never used that.
Buy and use all tools and equipment that are required of a paint master. Bucket with skirt, steel toe boots, notebook, drawing pad, aluminum box, etc.
Okay, that's pretty much it.
Again, the bucket with skirt. Don't expect you to go out and get everything at once. The bucket with skirt starts to be your correct me if I'm wrong, stop me anywhere, is your emergency bucket. Right away, you're not using a big black box. You might be using one of the totes, you know, as you grow.
The paint is supposed to have one black box already, and I'm actually supposed to have two. I try to stick everything in one, but I'm supposed to have two. You know, because it's supposed to fit all these things in one box. You got the back of the skirt. You got the. I told you before in the beginning, right? You got your boots. You got your office, right? Mobile office. You know, drying pad, wooden box, all this stuff. And sometimes, you know, like on the winter, you got your winter clothes in there. So there's a lot of stuff. You gotta have a black box already. So you're supposed to have a black box already when you get to Fire Escape Mechanic, which is my level. It's supposed to have two black boxes. One that has all these things, and the other one has your power tools and all this stuff. And other stuff.
Clamps, so forth, vice grips, sockets, you know, that's all mechanic stuff. Bandsaw, drill.
Not so many hand tools. All the hand tools that you have from in the bucket is your hand tools, and then but you have to have the power tools required, plus like some safety equipment, like a hard hat and a harness. That is it pretty much. Next.
Note and utilize all the FES technical sheet systems that are required of the paint master.
Okay.
Haves and needs list, Home Depot list, etc.
Okay.
Can you say anything on that?
Haves and needs, we gotta show you all this list later on, you know what I mean? All the sheets that we make to make the job go efficiently and stuff. I'll show you this list later on, but
So it's not something you have to worry about
there's a certain amount
immediately.
that you're required. It is a lot more that I'm required to do, kind of thing.
Keep going.
Yeah.
No and utilize all of that. We just read that. Do level 1 marketing. Hang signs, distribute business cards, stickers, and other approved advertisement tools.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah. Perform level 1 customer service. Friendly interaction. Ask for water tap or power and storage capabilities.
Again, common sense. You've been in the trades, you're always to the client and whatnot, or people working for the client, and you're going to be friendly. You're not going to come off rude. I need this, get me that. It's just, again, morally and legally and professionally how you'd interact with another human being. It's pretty basic, but again, this is a system. He brought somebody in right out of high school. You don't know how they would act. You'd have to explain that one out. So
Yeah. You'll be looking at windows if you put freaking change in it.
and the last one is a certified paint master is equivalent to a fire escape mechanic in training. So you've already started as you're going through your paint master, you're already into your internship of level 1, maybe even partial level 2 fire escape mechanic, correct?
Yes. Certified he's already.
I'm going to take 5, everybody.
What?
And
I'm gonna break